and welcome to a special Women in Travel edition of Travel Weekly TV. I'm the editor here, Dan Lake, and with me is James Mooring, who is the co-founder of RoomRes. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Nice to be here.
So firstly, we're keen to know, you're getting involved in Women in Travel, which is amazing. Why is this an important thing for you guys to do?
So we believe that recognising the success and impact and achievements of women in travel is a really, really important thing to do. But it's also a great way of kind of providing role models and inspiration. So kind of that the goal of the awards in terms of celebrating the success and the contribution is something that really resonates with us as a business. It's been an awards that we've been engaged with over the years. In 2019, one of our team made the shortlist, and it was we were a much smaller team then, and it was a really kind of great moment for us as a business. It was something we felt great about. Felt great for Chantal, and also felt that it was an important statement for us as a business to be part of those awards, and we took the whole team to the awards. But this year, kind of roll forward 4 years, what would be a way kind of taking our involvement further and kind of really standing up and say these are principles that are important to us. We really want to be an ally of women in the travel industry, and this is the to give you a sense of how important this is to us. This is the first time we've ever sponsored an industry awards. This is something we really do believe in. But as well as kind of how we can bring attention to it and shine a light on some of the great contributions and the kind of the winners in this awards, it's also a really important way for us to speak internally to our team. It's a great way to tell our team and our people that this is something that's important to us. These are principles we believe in, and they're conversations we want to be part of internally and externally within the business. So it's an external and an internal decision. But to be kind of really honest, as a business that was co-founded by two men, myself and Nick, we felt a little bit uncomfortable about, what our role could be in these awards. Did we have the right to stand up, to want to be an ally of women in travel in these awards? And so I sought guidance with some kind of brilliant female colleagues, and that reassured me that these awards will be at their most impactful when more and more people are engaged in them, and more people are involved in them. And so that, as a business that was co-founded by two men, it was important that we also stand up and say this is important and that they're awards we believe in. And so we're kind of incredibly honoured to be a sponsor of these awards.
So it does sound like something that's become part of a DNA of your company now. So what kind of things do you guys do internally to really progress the careers of the women that are working in the company?
Great question. And Nick and I started RoomRes in 2016. There were two of us in an office about the size of a cupboard, and we've now got people in the US, China, and Australia. And we've got about 20 people around about 20 people in our Sydney, kind of based out of our Sydney office. And we're a really diverse team. But right from the beginning of the business, we knew that a really important part of our growth was going to be about having strong female voices within our business, and specifically in key leadership positions. And so we've always wanted to ensure that we have women in key roles, and that happened from the beginning when we went out and launched into the US, and to now where we have a woman in our head of finance team and also women as our head of business development, and they offer kind of extraordinary value in the roles that they do, but they also bring incredible value and input to the culture of our business and the wider strategic direction that we take. And so that commitment to having women in key roles in the business is something that's ongoing and really important to us.
A lot of the time we hear from companies about how much they value, diversity in the workplace and that sort of thing. But when it comes down to the pay, it's a bit different. What about the pay gap? What are you guys doing at RoomRes to really address that and make sure that that's not a problem?
It seems wrong to have to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. As a core principle, we believe that men and women should be paid the same amount for doing the same job. It's critical to us. We have never differentiated pay based on gender, and we never will. But I think it's then important to check that you're living those principles, right? And that's kind of it's one thing to state it, but as you say, it's another thing to live it. We don't have hundreds of people, so kind of large benchmarking studies don't work for us. But in our Sydney office, there's nearly half the roles that we have at one time or another have had a man and a woman doing exactly the same job at the same time. And on all of those occasions, we've paid exactly the same salary. And that's something we continue to check, and it's something we will always kind of deliver on. But as we hopefully then get bigger and bigger, then we'll also want to engage in the larger benchmarking studies that allow us to make sure we're really delivering on that equity of pay. But I think, we can see what we do as a business being one thing that's internal, but I think it's also about setting those benchmarks and expectations for our staff. We want all of our staff to stay with us forever, but eventually sometimes staff leave, they move on. And I think it's really great if we've been overt about that equality of pay, that when people go into new roles and new businesses, they go with that expectation that equity of pay is the right thing. It's not something that should have to be fought for. It should be it's a right.
And that's a great legacy to leave with employees if they do move on to other positions. Talking about the category itself, the Rising Star category, what kind of qualities are important to you when it comes to looking for a rising star?
So we love rising stars at RimRes, but I think some of the qualities that really stand out to me. I think a real commitment to delivering kind of amazing outcomes for your customers is one thing. That kind of, how do I deliver amazing success and outcomes for my customer? That could be a customer who's going on a holiday, or it could be a supplier, or it could be an internal customer, but a real commitment to kind of amazing outcomes. I think a real thirst for knowledge is another really key quality, that kind of passion to learn more about the industry, because the wider the footprint of your understanding, obviously the more places you can start to have an impact. I think, a focus on coming with solutions rather than just identifying problems, that's a really great quality. And I think with that then comes, that desire for innovation and to find new ways to do things in a better way that improve things for the business and the industry as a whole. I think those are great qualities, some of the great qualities we would look for. And I think then when you then combine that with a kind of an energy and an enthusiasm for this amazing industry that we work in, that energy and enthusiasm with those qualities will mean that this person's they're already starting to deliver amazing kind of successes for their business. But kind of one of the interesting things I think when we think about the qualities for rising stars are they're the same qualities that we want to hold ourselves to account to keep on delivering on. And I think the people that are kind of winning the Rising Star Awards with those qualities at this stage, they'll still be kind of delivering on those same qualities, further down in their career when they're in kind of senior leadership roles. And that's kind of what's really exciting about this award. Yeah.
I feel like I can hear the bosses in this building listening to all those things you're looking for, thinking, I might actually add these to the KPIs of the staff in this building. Looking at the awards as a whole, though, why do you think an event like that is important for this industry in terms of really making a statement about women in the industry and where things are going?
So I believe that businesses that have diverse and inclusive leadership teams do better. They deliver better results, and that's great for the industry. It pushes the industry forwards as well. But I think it's kind of dependent on elevating women into leadership roles to actually achieve that diversity within leadership. And I think what's interesting about these awards is that they put a spotlight and a focus on individual achievements and kind of excellence and kind of contributions that have shifted the industry forwards. And that's great for elevating the individuals themselves, but I think it also challenges other businesses to kind of to hold ourselves to account. Are we recognising the amazing things that women are doing in the business? And when I say recognising, not just rewards, kind of external rewards, but actually promotion and kind of responsibility and impact within the wider business. So I think, it's often the case that individuals and achievements by individuals are the catalyst to wider change, be that within a business or within society, within industry. And so I think it's important that we celebrate the individual success, but as a way of elevating more women into leadership across the wider industry.
So it's clear that things are happening and things are going in the right direction, but there is obviously still room for improvement and progress right across the entire industry. Otherwise, things like this wouldn't, really be needed. So where do you think those areas are that need a bit more attention in the industry?
A great question. I think it's a fabulous industry that we work in, and it's one that has a high concentration of women in the workforce, which is great. I think there's definitely obviously still room for progress in terms of the number of women in leadership roles in the industry. But I think perhaps, a better way for me to answer that question is to kind of challenge ourselves. It's how as RimRes do we look to progress? And we're a travel technology business. We believe in technology assisting travel agents, and so we really sit in that cross of where travel and technology kind of come together. And whilst travel as an industry has a really high concentration of women working in travel. Technology isn't the same, sadly, and that's a problem that we see in our business. So in terms of like the number of coders, the number of developers that are women, just isn't the same as in other areas of the business. We recently hired a full stack developer in Sydney, and we didn't have a single female candidate kind of apply. And I spoke to our recruiter, and she worked really hard to get a female candidate, and we just couldn't get one. So I think that plays back to us the challenge of how do we as a business project ourselves in such a way that we can attract, talent, female talent to want to work in the tech space in our business. How do we kind of project those roles? How do we describe them to make those roles that are as desirable as travel for women to come and work in? And these awards are one part of that, as kind of starting that conversation. But it's very much, I think, how do we challenge ourselves to deliver that progress as a business?
Absolutely fascinating talking to you, because it sounds like you're a company or an organisation that has really made this part of the core part of your organisation, and it's a real genuine thing that you're doing. So it's been fantastic chatting to you.
Oh, thanks very much, Dan.
Don't forget that the Women in Travel Awards are not far away, so make sure you keep tuned to travelweekly.com.au to make sure you're across all the latest entrants and, of course, details for the event itself. Until next time, I'm Dan Lake. We'll catch you then.